What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, we're talking about Batman Urban Legends issue number 13. This is again the anthology book with several different storylines going on here. I think we had 4 stories in particular. We're at the halfway point of one of them, or of 2 of the stories, and then we're kind of finishing up part 3 of 3 of 2 of the other, like, kind of in between stories. So Urban Legends has like 2 big stories, and then they have kind of a smaller one, or 2 smaller ones kind of sprinkled in throughout. I wouldn't actually mind if they had just kind of 3 stories in here, but I mean, you're getting 4 for the price of whatever is like the price of like 2 comic books or something like that. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about him. So again, there is Batman and Zatanna in Bound to Your Will, part 3 of 6, written by Vita Ayala. Art by Nicola, I can't pronounce your last name, so I don't want to bother butchering it. The credits are right there. Like I said, White Witch and Stigma by Ram V, Eternity and Eternity of Gotham, part 3 of 3, and Ace the Bat-Hound and Hounded, with Mark Russell writing that, and Carl Moserta as the artist and all that and that. So, like I said, there's 4 stories in here. The first one, the Batman and Zatanna one, has John Constantine throughout it. There's kind of a bit of like a love triangle in a way. Like there's a fun dynamic between Constantine, Batman, and Zatanna, and I think that's where the strength of the issue lies, because obviously Batman and Zatanna made some sort of spell which has had magical repercussions that have affected them, and that's where John Constantine kind of came in. Now Constantine he's got obviously a lot of history with Zatanna. Batman clearly does not like him. There's also hints of things that have gone on between Batman and Zatanna, like they definitely have some sort of feelings going on for each other, but they haven't fully like committed to it. They're kind of too stubborn on it. You know what? I'd be all for this. I like the idea of Batman and Zatanna together. I'm really over the whole Batman and Catwoman thing at this point because it's kind of been shoved into everything for the past couple years. I get there's like an iconic nature to it, but at the same time, like the way it was handled, and was it Batman Rebirth with Tom King right in, maybe really disliked that pairing to the point where like I don't want to see it anymore. So even like in the new Batman where it was handled well, like it wasn't like as obnoxious and in your face as like the way DC Comics has portrayed it for the past couple of years. Like they turned Batman into kind of a pathetic simp. So I really like the dynamic here with him and Zatanna. It's kind of this will they, won't they. There's something going on between the two, and it would be interesting to see them kind of explore that. Because like I said, it adds a new dynamic. It's fresh. Batman is all kind of like science-based, and Zatanna is all magic-based. So you could create some kind of interesting stories with the two of them playing off each other. Plus, I really like Zatanna. But another standout in this particular thing was John Constantine. The writing for Constantine is on point here. It's fun. It's exciting. The artwork, I think, works pretty well. Like I said, I like mixing this whole detective aspect and the magic aspect together. Like these worlds kind of colliding creates something a little bit different for the average Batman storyline. But the strength here, like I said, is in the banter and the dialogue between the 3 characters. Obviously, Zatanna and Constantine have a bit of a history. They have some kind of soft, tender moments, but Constantine is just really funny in this thing. Just the way like he acts like a bit of an asshole. Batman just getting really annoyed with Constantine is funny. Like he's a good comedic relief here. Like I said, this is a really fun storyline, and like some chaotic magic stuff happens. I always kind of like get lost sometimes because I don't read the magic stuff quite as much as I do some of the more grounded detective stuff in DC Comics. So like for me, like I get lost a little bit sometimes, but I can still kind of get the basic idea of what's happening here. But like I said, it's fun. The dynamics between the characters are excellent, and I wouldn't mind a long ongoing storyline with all these characters. I mean, it's only going to be 6 issues, but like I said, the Batman and Zatanna thing is really like, it's really working for me. Like and John Constantine thrown in there too. Like the 3 of those characters playing off each other is fun. It is exciting, and like it's got a really good voice for Constantine here. I always like John Constantine, especially like when Matt Ryan would play him, like in the animated stuff and then live action. Like every time I read a Constantine comic or Constantine with something, I just read it in Matt Ryan's voice. Like that's such a spot on casting. I know I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but I always like Constantine, like Zatanna, like Batman, and I like seeing them play off each other. So this is a W for me. This is a good storyline so far. Then we have the White Witch storyline by Ram V. It kind of goes into the White Witch's backstory a little bit with Ghostmaker. Not really a fan of the art style here. It's kind of like this watercolored, really smudgy kind of style. It's kind of tough to make things out, and it's kind of disorienting to kind of read it. And I'm just kind of like, okay, what's happening here? Yeah, it's got targets and all that. Really, you could skip this storyline entirely. Like if they just dropped this storyline altogether and just lowered the price of the book by $1, I think that'd be a lot more beneficial. I didn't care for this White Witch storyline. It kind of wraps up in a way like, oh, I'm going to like the character dies, but then they say they're going to take out Simon Saint and all that. I don't know. This just felt like kind of a bit of a waste of time for me. I didn't particularly care for it. And the thing is, I actually liked Ram V's run on Catwoman when I read it a few months ago. So yeah, there's that. You could skip the White Witch run. Then we have Eternity in Gotham with the character of Eternity. This is a character I'm not really familiar with, and I think I've said this in the previous 2 months issues. But like I said, I'm not really familiar with the character of Eternity and their motivations and backstory. But we get a little bit of their backstory here. They're basically kind of like somebody who can see dead people, and they're like a detective kind of solving cases, and they kind of need the characters there. We get a little bit of their backstory, a little bit of magical shenanigans. We kind of define that somebody was responsible for it, and like there's some sort of like characters bonded over magic and all that other stuff. They end up solving some sort of case together, and it gets wrapped up in its own kind of unique way. A little bit better than the White Witch thing. I think I need to have more of a connection to Eternity, kind of enjoy it a little bit more, because like I said, I'm not really familiar with this character almost at all, and I've read a lot of DC comic stuff, and like I said, there's so many DC comics out there and different characters and books. I mean, look at how many books they come out every single week. I feel like unless you're working at DC, there's just no way to cover them all. Like, it's kind of insane how many books are out there. Like, and there's only so much, like, my brain, like, knowledge and information my brain can store. So, I think I need to read a little bit more about this character to kind of get into it. So, I wasn't quite as into the story, but that's, again, because I have really no connection with the characters in here. So, like, this is almost like my first time experiencing them. So, but I could be interested to see what they could do with the storyline some more. Maybe you can make like an animated show or something for me to kind of like as an easy access point to the character, or I'll just kind of have to go back and read something when I get the chance to. But I did like it more than the White Witch storyline. So, and then finally, the last storyline is the Mark Russell one with Batman and Ace the Bat-Hound. So Batman gets captured by some like underground mob or like whatever, like dealer or whatever you want to call him, and he's just kind of bored. He's got a ton of money. Ace and obviously all the various pets are out there. They kind of escaped their captivities, escaped their captors, and they're off trying to find Batman. I love this storyline so far. Like, this was a lot of fun. Like, it's just kind of like a lot of scenes with just the animals kind of working together, solving the case. And like that's fun to me. Like, it's kind of like getting me excited also for the upcoming Super Pets movie. Batman gets captured. He's trying to find out where Ace is at. We also find Batman has some interesting stuff within his cowl. Like, the electric stuff, shock things, like defense activated. I'm like, okay, Batman has a fucking flamethrower in his cowl. Are you shitting me? Like, that just seems rather dangerous. Like, what if somebody shoots Batman in the head? Is that just going to blow up? The electric shock thing, okay, I can buy that. But Batman having a flamethrower to set people on fire in his cowl, like, is this just something specifically for the storyline? Is there just, like, what is this? Like, I mean, I just had a good laugh at this thing, because I'm like, okay, the electric shock thing, it's something I've seen before. It's a little bit of a defense mechanism. But the fact that he has, like, a flamethrower built into his cowl, like, how does that, like, not set his face on fire? I don't know, like, that was so ridiculous. Like, even for a comic book, it seemed kind of outlandish to me. But I had a good laugh at that. But anyways, so, like, Ace and them, they also tell some story about, like, a puppy and a lion together, something like that. How the stories sometimes just don't have a point. But anyways, so they're off kind of trying to figure out where Batman's at. They know he was kind of nearby, but the people who are trying to apprehend these animals are close on their trail. So I had fun with this one. I'm kind of enjoying this thing. It's something a little bit different. I like seeing Ace at the forefront of the story. Like I said, there's some fun, exciting stuff in this issue of Urban Legends. I actually think I like this one more than last month's. I can't remember what I thought of last month's, but it certainly was decent. But yeah, anyways, so Urban Legends been pretty solid since we kind of got the fresh start. Maybe I was just kind of not as into it as much last month, but I'm into it a little bit more this month. Maybe that's because I liked the Zatanna and Batman and Constantine stuff, and I like the stuff with the little pets there. The two stories in the middle, like, those you could kind of skip. If I just had the two stories and the price went down by like $1 or $2, I think I'd enjoy this thing a lot more. They just put like 3 storylines in Urban Legends that just kind of space things out a little bit rather than just kind of cramming 4 into this thing. I think it'd be a little bit stronger, but you know, you just got to take it for what it's worth. But anyways, if you read Batman Urban Legends issue number 13, tell me your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit that bell for notifications. Yeah, so thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'm sure I'll have more stuff coming up this week. I'm not exactly sure at this point right now. I think this is it in terms of comics. I think, actually, no, there is one comic series. I got to catch up on that whole War for Earth 3 crossover event. So I'm going to go back and try and read that and actually just do a little bit of reading, and then maybe I'll do some catching up, or maybe I'll catch up on some books that I haven't gotten around to yet in a while. So maybe I'll catch up and do some reviews on Superman Son of Kal-El. I did review the most recent issue, or if not, I'll just kind of just like skim over that and maybe start from fresh. I don't exactly know, because I did skip covering, what was it, Catwoman and Harley Quinn last week, or an I Am Batman. I just kind of just dropped those books altogether. I just didn't really have interest in like reviewing them at this point. But maybe the time will come around where I'll cover those again. I just feel like there's some books I just kind of want to read and not have to worry about like pumping out another video and just kind of like losing a little bit of passion for it. But this issue of Urban Legends, I think it was a pass for me because I like the two main storylines. I'm curious to see what they come out with next month. Hopefully the next middle stories, like, because they usually do like 3 parts for like the second and third storyline in this book, and hopefully those parts are actually pretty good for next week, so or next month. So, but we'll see. Yeah, I think that's all I gotta say. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. As always, take care now. Bye bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.